So, ladies and gentlemen, every year XXL puts out a freshman list, typically at the midpoint of the year, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. But with that being the case, it's gonna drop any day now. And even though the list is not a super big deal, I still check it out just because I'm a hip hop nerd like that. I want to see. I'm just curious who's on the list. And because I know it's going to drop any day now, I wanted to kind of look back at some of the freshman classes and do some videos talking about it. I talked yesterday about five XXL freshmen that I believe were underrated. And in this video, I wanted to talk about which class I believe is the best of all time. Now, this is a tricky conversation because many people believe the 2016 class is the best of all time. And I think they have a very strong argument because the 2016 class is extremely good. But I know I have my own bias, and I believe the true best class of all time was the 2013 class. When you look at the 2013 XXL freshman class, it is a very dope and shockingly underrated class that a lot of people don't refer back to very much or very often. When you look at it, it's Ab Soul, Joey Badass, Schoolboy Q, Action Bronson, Kirko Banks, Travis Scott, Logic, Angel Hayes, Trinidad James, Dizzy Wright, and Chief Keef. Technically, Chief Keef was not in the photo shoot. They just put a screenshot of Chief Keef's picture. I can't remember if it was because he was in jail or if he just chose not to show up for the photo shoot. But either way, Chief Keef is a part of this freshman class, so I am counting him in this. Now, when I talk about why I think that it's the best class ever out of all the freshman classes over the past 18 years, I'm considering impact, as well as if they were able to have some sort of wave. Not, it doesn't have to be a super big mainstream wave, but did they have a solid enough wave where they had enough eyes on them to put out their best material? And then also, I want to talk about, hey, just simply, was it a class full of dope artists? And again, just because a specific artist is not your cup of tea, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not dope within their specific lane. So if I could still see the appeal of somebody, even if it's not my cup of tea, I still factor that into them just simply being dope, whether it's my vibe or not. And I mean, one thing I noticed that I thought was dope about this class is from a regional standpoint, as far as like regional representation, different parts of the country, this gotta be like the most balanced class that I've seen, really. Like, you got East Coast rappers here, West Coast rappers, Southern rappers, and Midwest rappers. I don't like, when you look at some of these other classes, I don't know if many other classes can make that same claim, which, that's not XXL's fault. That's just how things go over time. Certain parts of the country are just hotter than others, so it is what it is. Like, the South has had a stronghold over everything for I'd say at least 20 years, so it is what it is. But again, from a region, as far as regional representation, this is probably the most balanced class ever. And then also, when you look at these freshman classes, like I've said before in other videos, you do kind of have to look at it the way you would look at a draft in sports, whether it's NBA, the NHL, the NFL, the MLB, any one of these sports leagues. And when you have those draft classes, you have players who live up to their potential and become stars. You have players who exceed expectations and become stars. You got players who, they're not necessarily stars, but they're really solid and they have staying power. Then you also have people who are bust. If you talk about bust, and I don't mean bust to be disrespectful, but if you talk about bust, there's really not any bust on this list. I guess the closest you could say is like Angel Hayes, but I mean, Angel Hayes even had a career, even if she never got super popular on a mainstream level. Even Angel Hayes herself had a career. But when you look at this class, everybody, even if their run was short, everybody here had some sort of a run, in my opinion, man. Like, pretty much everybody. And again, from an artistic standpoint, this is a very dope, not just a dope class, but also a very diverse class when it comes to styles. You have the more melodic rappers, like a Kurt Cobain's. I know Kurt Cobain's has had other songs where he wasn't trying to be melodic. He was just kind of rapping and freestyling. But either way, you have melodic rappers like a Kurt Cobain's and a Travis Scott. Then you also have more lyrical rappers like a Joey Badass. Then you also have the stoner rapper like a Dizzy Wright, who also can be lyrical. Then you have the lyrical rappers who, when they want to be, they could be kind of funny, like a Action Bronson or a Schoolboy Q. Like this class has you got the street rappers as well, like Chief Keef, who's obviously a drill rapper. Like there's you have rappers who don't take themselves too seriously, like Trinidad James, who I kind of put him in sort of that meme rapper category. If you remember Trinidad James, I think you would get what I'm saying. And as far as impact, like this class has had a lot of influence on the following years after them, even though it's not always talked about. Just from Chief Keef being on this list alone, that automatically puts them in the conversation of one of the most influential XXL freshman classes of all time. Because whether you like Chief Keef or not, Chief Keef has had a major impact on music, on hip hop for the past decade. Like the drill music scene that really blew up during the early 2010s has had a major impact on the way hip hop has sounded over the past 10 to 15 years. And we all know that Chief Keef was the face of drill music, and at one point the biggest drill rapper for at least like the first like 4 to 5 years of drill music being on the hip hop fan base's radar. Then also you got artists like Travis Scott who have been very successful and have has had impact with his sound. Then also you also got somebody like a Trinidad James who you also have somebody like a Trinidad James who his influence is a little underrated because at the end of the day, he was influential enough to get his get his flow and and his lyrics low key stolen by Bruno Mars on that Bruno and Mark Ronson song or Brunson song, Uptown Funk, I believe it was called. Now, I guess you can't say it was stolen because of the fact that Trinidad James did has said that he's gotten paid from that song, so it's more of a sample. But either way, to me, that still counts as influence because even if people forget about Trinidad James, that song that Bruno Mars made is to this day, it's still an extremely popular song that people still play over and over again. And whether they realize it or not, they're vibing out to a song that was influenced or inspired by Trinidad James. Again, it's just a very underrated class, very dope. Let me know, do you think the 2013 class was the best class of all time? Do you think it was an underrated class? And then also, no, no. Hmm. And then to stick to the artistic part of it, a lot of dope albums came out of the people from this class. In my opinion, I believe Joey Badass has had multiple classics. I think All American Badass was a classic. I think 1999 was a classic. Even if you don't think they're truly classics, they're definitely good bodies of work. Action Bronson has put out some dope albums and mixtapes. Schoolboy Q has put out some dope albums and mixtapes. Definitely at least one classic. And Travis Scott has put out some dope albums and mixtapes. I would argue Days Before Rodeo was a classic, but I know that's a little debatable. Some people may disagree, but there's a lot of dope material that came out of this class. Even Dizzy Wright as well, in my opinion. I think his discography is underrated. The Growing Process, Nobody Cares, Work Harder, The Golden Age 2, dope projects. Let me know, do you think the 2013 class is the true greatest class of all time? And if you don't think it's the greatest class of all time, what year do you think was the greatest XXL freshman class of all time?